stage. Next on the show, we'll sit down with retired Ambassador Tunde Mustafa to discuss what the recent ambassadorial postings mean for Nigeria's image abroad, including the United States, the UK, and France. That's after this break. For more than a year, Nigeria has operated without substantive ambassadors in several key foreign missions, capitals that matter to our economy, security, and global influence, including Washington, London, and Paris. They've been without officially accredited envoys. This prolonged gap has raised serious concerns about Nigeria's diplomatic presence and effectiveness. It's also coincided with the reported diplomatic tensions, especially with the U.S., as well as reports that Nigeria spent millions of dollars on foreign lobbying while critical ambassadorial seats remained vacant. Following the Senate confirmation of 68 ambassadorial nominees last December, President Tinubu has now approved the posting of 3 ambassador-designates to key countries. Ambassador Ayodele to France, Colonel Lateef Are retired to the United States, and Ambassador Ahmed Dahatu as High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. To help unpack the diplomacy behind this new development, the implications of these postings, and what it all means for Nigeria's image and influence abroad, I'm joined by a seasoned voice in global diplomacy. Ambassador Tunde Mustafa is a retired career ambassador and foreign service officer. He served as head of mission and charge d'affaires at Nigeria's permanent mission to the United Nations in Geneva between 2019 and 2021, and later at the Nigerian embassy in Paris in 2023. Ambassador Mustafa, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you as well. From a diplomatic perspective, how serious is it for a country like ours to leave key foreign missions without substantive ambassadors for this length of time? Would you say that charge d'affaires realistically were able to fill the gap, or are there limits to what they can achieve without ambassadorial authority?
Certainly, there are limits to what HRJ can achieve and can do in any foreign mission. In diplomatic hierarchy, HRJ is second to ambassador. Where you have ambassadors, all the ambassadors will first of all be listed before you list HRJ. So automatically it means that where we have ambassadors, 10, 20 ambassadors, and you have HRJ, the HRJ will become last, no matter how long he has been on that seat in that foreign mission. So not to have a substantive ambassador is not a plus for Nigeria. And we are very happy that the government is right now doing something urgently about it, so that in the next few weeks, months, we have a full complement of accredited ambassadors in our foreign missions. But that is not to say that the missions are left without heads. The charges in most of our missions right now are also seasoned career ambassadors, most of them. The only defect is that they are not properly accredited. Thank you.
We'll talk about France very shortly, where you've worked as recent as 2023. But this prolonged absence of an ambassador, let's begin in U.S., where this absence of an ambassador in Washington indeed coincided with diplomatic friction and heavy reliance on foreign lobbyists, as we hear it now. From your experience, how critical is having a trusted ambassador in managing sensitive bilateral relationships like that of Nigeria and U.S.?
It's very critical. An ambassador is a personal representative of Mr. President anywhere he is. So like in a place in Washington, that means that Mr. President does not have a voice, official voice in Washington. Without an accredited ambassador, communication between Mr. President and his counterparts will not be very smooth, will not be official, and will not carry much weight without an ambassador. Also, without an accredited ambassador, the face of Nigeria is absent in any meetings with officials, either officials of the U.S. government or officials of other governments who are represented in Washington. What it means that the Nigerian flag will be absent where they are having official meetings without the presence of a substantive accredited ambassador in Washington. That's what it means. And sending missions to Washington or engaging lobbyists will not be a very good solution. Nigerians has always been having lobbyists in Washington and other capitals, even when we have substantive ambassadors. The work of lobbyists is quite different from that of a substantive accredited Nigerian ambassador in Washington or in any other capital city.
And you know, we've suffered some blows below the belt when you consider the bans on visa and then how the U.S. has labeled the insecurity challenges in the north. As we speak now, we now have, there's a new ambassador-designate approved for Washington. What should be the immediate priorities for repairing and strengthening that relationship?
The immediate priority is very, very clear. Number one, the person appointed by Mr. President as our ambassador-designate to Washington, Colonel Lateef Are, I will say is a square peg in a square hole. A first-class graduate from UI, Masters in International Law and Diplomacy from UNILAG, an intelligence officer in the Army. He retired as a colonel in 1993 before he was appointed by General Ambassador as the Director General of the State Security Service. And then he became Deputy National Security Advisor in 2010. You will say that this is a professional security officer. And we all know that right now, our major engagement with the U.S. is on security, and we are sending a security officer. So I will say his appointment is a square peg in a square hole, and hopefully he will be able to engage his counterpart, security counterpart in the U.S., who are going to work with Nigeria in resolving some of our security problems that we have. And let me go ahead by saying that appointing ambassadors by country is not a unique Western system. In pre-colonial Nigeria, societies, kingdoms, empires have been appointing ambassadors. The Empire of Oyo, Benin, Kanem Borno, and Sokoto appointed ambassadors and accredited them to foreign countries. It's on record that the Benin Kingdom appointed an ambassador to Portugal as far back as the 16th century. Even the Oyo Empire, they have a unique system of appointing ambassadors. They create ambassadors, accredit them for particular reasons. So if you hear the name of the ambassador, you will know what he or she is supposed to achieve. If Alaafin Dari is called Obalolu or Oba Kushetan, that is, the king is not ready. An ambassador with the name the king is not ready, you know the ultimate result of that is embassy. Or if you say Ogbasuru, that is, we need to take it easy. An ambassador with that name, you know what he is supposed to achieve in his embassy. So also, sending Colonel Lateef Are to Washington, a career security expert. We know, and Washington we know, what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is requesting Colonel Are to achieve in Washington: security collaborations. Of course, there are other duties that an ambassador like Are is expected to achieve in Washington: negotiating with various organizations of the American government, promoting Nigerian economy, Nigerian culture, Nigerian way of life in Washington, then reporting on its activities back to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and also he has consular duties to perform in Washington. That is protecting Nigerians in America.
Well, let's turn to France, where you served in Paris as recent as 2023. France remains influential in West Africa and within the European Union. We also seem to see some camaraderie between our president and the French president, right? With the new ambassador, what do you think, who is now designated to France? What immediate diplomatic priorities should Nigeria focus on in Paris based on your experience there recently?
Ambassador Ayoke is also another seasoned diplomat. Ambassador to Commonwealth Secretariat and also DG NIA between 2013 and 2017. This is another professional. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is appointing not politicians into these key posts, but professionals. So his duty, the duty of Ambassador Ayoke is cut out for him in Paris. Security, and economy. I was in Paris when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made his maiden visit to Paris in 2023. He was more than warmly received by his colleague, President Macron, and the French establishment. From that visit, Nigeria and France has gone a long way. We have gone a long way in cementing our relationship. Because as you mentioned, France is an heavyweight in West Africa, but also within the European Union. France, or rather Paris, will be a gateway for Nigeria and for Ambassador Oke within the European Union. His calling, his work in France will be mainly security and economy. We have very, very good bilateral relations with the French, and I believe Ayoke will be in position to cement that relationship and take it further, because Nigeria, we need France, we need Europe, as well as France itself needs Nigeria. It's a win-win situation for both countries.
Absolutely. And I agree with you to the extent that we must take our collaboration with a country like France to the next level, especially seeing what's happening with the U.S. 68 ambassadors were confirmed by the Senate last December, but we've only seen 3 so far being posted. What could explain this selective deployment?
From my own experience, the deployment is not selective. Number one, you will realize number two is the fact that the remaining Nigeria has to seek agreement, what we call agreement, from those countries where they are to be posted. The process of seeking agreement sometimes takes time. It can be done, if it is within Africa, you can say it can be done within a month. But sometimes, to get agreement from some countries, sometimes take 3 months. So I believe the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the ministry itself, they are in the process of seeking agreement from those countries where the remaining 65 ambassador-designated will be posted to. So the posting of these 3, we disagree with you as being selective. They are not selective. They are following due process. Once the agreement is secured for the remaining ones, their posting will be released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the presidency, as the case may be.
Based on the experience in Geneva and Paris, how much does Nigeria's global image depend on having the right people in these ambassadorial roles? Because I'm sure you also followed closely the reaction that trailed the nominees when they were sent to the Senate at the time.
Yeah, you are very much correct that there were some uproars about some nominees. But what I want you to know is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the right to appoint his own personal representative. And the way I see he speaking them is like he is targeting them for specific purposes. Colonel Are, as a seasoned intelligence officer going to Washington, that's very apt. That's where it's supposed to be. The same thing with Ayoke and Ambassador-Designates, another seasoned ambassador. Others, like Ambassador-Designates Reno, you will see that today in Nigeria, after the likes of well-known public relations people, Reno is one of those people that you can see is a professional in that area, public relations. And before his designation as an ambassador, he has been a cultural ambassador. You see the way he dresses. You see the way he campaigned for Nigerians to use Glo instead of MTN. I mean, generally to use made in Nigerian goods. He has been working, performing the role of a quasi-ambassador before being designated. And I believe Mr. President will post him to a post where he can use his public relation expertise to advance, protect, and promote Nigerian national interest. So also for the others. I believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very, very, very intentional, very, very focused in selecting his ambassador nominees, and also he will be very focused in posting them to where they can maximize their capacities, their capabilities, and their natural attributes.
You know, there's been a lot of outcry following the delay. And now that we've seen what has happened at the Senate, and now some of the postings already being done, what should the Tinubu administration's immediate next steps be to restore confidence and credibility in Nigeria's foreign policy?
To restore, I don't think restore is the right word. Our foreign policy has not been so damaged that it needs restoration. What I can say is that we need to advance it we need to promote it, we need to cement it, our foreign relations with other countries. And I believe that immediate posting of these ambassadors will go a long way in achieving this. Not only their posting, but giving them the wherewithal to work. And this is supporting them with enough budgetary provisions. Over a long number of years, our embassies have always been shortchanged in terms of budgetary provisions. We budget in Naira, but they spend in Euro, in dollars, in pound sterling, or yuan, as the case may be. Because of this, all our embassies are always in deficit. So posting ambassadors is one, giving them the wherewithal to work, to pay their staff, to pay utilities, and most importantly, to do the work an ambassador is supposed to do. A Nigerian ambassador in Washington or in any of the major capitals is expected once in a while to invite other ambassadors to receptions, to dialogue with them, invite them to the best hotels, etc. But because of budgetary provisions, most ambassadors, Nigerian ambassadors, they have constraints in doing that role, that representative role. Right. Because of budgetary constraints, they are not able to follow it up.
Ambassador,
so posting ambassadors is one.
Yes, but adequately financing the missions, I hear you clearly. We have to go now, and I don't want to let you go without you dropping at least what you consider the most important advice for these newly posted ambassadors and the many others still waiting about navigating today's complex global diplomatic environment while also protecting Nigeria's national interest.
My own advice is for them to follow presidential instructions given to them, to the letter. Every ambassador going, apart from his letter of credence, will be given presidential instruction. These are what you are expected to achieve in your post. And most importantly, they have a duty to brush up the image of Nigeria in their posts. We have received a lot of bashings from the outside, mostly from Western press and international media. But our Nigerian media too, they need to sit off.
All right.
Most of the time you hear about crime in Nigeria. But looking at the statistics, Nigeria is not the most dangerous city in the world, the most dangerous countries in the world. We have a list of dangerous cities, 20 of them, Lagos, Maiduguri, Kaduna, they are not among them.
All right.
They are mostly in the Americas.
Ambassador Mustafa.
We talk about, okay.
Yes, I see you have a list there, but we don't have the time. We probably will find some other time to continue this conversation. Ambassador Tinubu Mustafa, thank you so much for your insight and service on the show today. There's no doubt that Nigeria's diplomacy clearly matters, not just abroad, but at home. And we appreciate your perspective on what it will take to. That's our show today, everyone. Thank you for being a part of it. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.